My name is Lizeth Perez, and I am a chemistry professor at a few different community colleges. I grew up in Long Beach, which is in Southern California. Yeah, so growing up in Long Beach, I grew up in a low-income, high-crime neighborhood. I'm sure if you guys have heard of Snoop Dogg. I went to high school, I grew up around the same neighborhood where he grew up. There was a lot of the soundtrack of my life, you can say, was a lot of gunshots, helicopters, police sirens. My family was undocumented, so my parents worked low-paying jobs, very hard labor. So they didn't speak English either. So a lot of times we had to translate for them, parent-teacher conferences, everything. I didn't know I was poor growing up until I guess now that I'm older. I never felt like I was poor because that was the norm. A lot of our neighbors were also low income. You don't get shoes till they have holes in them, shop at the swap meet and so on. But yeah, in terms of those challenges, not speaking the language, a lot of times my parents didn't know the importance of, going to school events, getting involved, don't know how the community works. Right? So we were just always at home, work or school. Didn't know that there were other things out there, really. My parents are from Jalisco in Mexico. So I was actually born in Mexico too. It's a small farming pueblo in Mexico named Ahuizculco. There's not much there. It's very rural to this day. There's no high school, there's no hospital, there's no stores, there's nothing. So yeah. That, and when they came too, it was just being apart. My mom actually came to the US first before my dad had come and gone, to work, get money, go back. My mom, when we ended up permanently staying here, she came first. I was around 2, my brother was 6, but we were without our mom for about a year, almost a year. Then my dad came over, and we were without both of our parents. We were at our grandmother's. So just being apart, having the family apart was a challenge. I know my mom said when they brought me over, I didn't remember her anymore even. I was around 3 when I was brought to the US. That lack of opportunities, not in terms of jobs. My dad's always painted houses, but they got paid very little. We lived in a garage that was not even fit for living. It was literally just a garage. We used the bathroom in a bucket. We didn't have a sink. We used water, like a water gallon, to brush our teeth into a bucket. So yeah, that was when we first moved here. We low income, not very many opportunities. My mom didn't drive, taking the bus, getting places. She didn't speak English, didn't know how to get around. She would ask somehow and figure it out and take us doctor wherever she needed to on the bus, but not really knowing exactly how. She figured it out somehow, but yeah. So my dad painted houses, still paints houses to this day. My mom started off as a seamstress. She basically worked in a sweatshop where she got paid. She didn't get paid by the hour. She got paid by the pieces that she sewed, pennies for each piece. So she worked as a seamstress for a while. She also cleaned houses on the side. She ended up cleaning houses for a living, just doing that, and then became a nanny. So she's a nanny still to this day as well, and cleans houses on the side sometimes. My mom was a hustler actually, because at times when we were going through rough times, she sold at the swap meet on the weekend. She figured out how to make things work. If she would have had to, she would have made tamales and sold them, I'm sure. Like she did what she had to get us by. So I still remember every day my mom, a lot of days, she would come home tired from work, from being a seamstress. There's a lot of dust, you inhale a lot of dust. She'd be covered in dust, her hair, her clothes. She'd actually blow her nose and show me the dust that she'd inhaled throughout the day. And she'd just tell me, like, estudia para que cuando crezcas no trabajes como burro, como tu papá y yo, which means study so that when you grow up, you don't have to work like a donkey, like your dad and I do. So she would constantly tell me that. My dad would get injured sometimes, throw out his back, but I would see him in the morning. He still had to wake up and go to work because, they don't have benefits. They don't have he'd go to El Salvador. He didn't have like health insurance. So he'd still have to go to work like that. And my mom would always point that out, like, look at your dad. You don't want to work like that. Go to school. Her dream for me was actually she would say, to study so I can be a secretary one day in an office. That was her dream for me. So yeah, my mom only went to third grade or fourth grade probably. There's not very many. She's the first out of 11 kids, so she just stayed home, took care. So she didn't have the opportunity to go to school. Yeah, her dream was for me to go to school. And especially being a girl in a machista culture, right? She would tell me, you don't want to depend on a man. Look at a lot of family members, women, they don't work, they're stay at home, they're not happy in their marriage, but they don't have a choice. I mean, in our culture too, you don't get divorced a lot, but she would always point that out, they can't leave their husband. You don't want to be like, trabaja, work hard in school so that you don't depend on a man and you're an independent woman. And so that really impacted me. I went to Long Beach City College, and from there I transferred to Cal State Long Beach. So I stayed local, and I graduated. It took me 7 years till I graduated with my bachelor's in biochemistry. So I was an undocumented student. I didn't know that would pose a barrier for me until around my junior year of high school. My counselor asked me for my social security so she could help us apply for FAFSA and such, but I told her I didn't have one, and then she just looked at me and said, well, without it, you're not going to be able to go to college. I was in the honors program in high school. I loved school. I was a bookworm, everything. And I asked her, like, is there anything I can do? They always tell you, just get your citizenship. Like, I wish I could. If I could, I would. But, and then she just turned me away, said, sorry, I can't help you. There's nothing I could do. So I thought I wasn't going to be able to go to college. My older brother had graduated high school too, and wasn't able to go either. We didn't know about AB 540. I found out about AB 540. There was my history teacher actually told me about it somehow. And so I was able to go to college as an AB 540 student and pay in-state tuition. I didn't get financial aid, so I had to work. I worked a few different jobs. Not having a social security, you have limited options as well. And so I worked at a Quiznos. I would help my mom paint houses, help my dad paint houses on my spare time. So I would go to school, classes, and then go to work. So that was my college experience most of the way, especially at Long Beach City College. I was there for 3 years. Then I transferred to Cal State Long Beach. So after taking all the classes, I transferred, and tuition was more expensive there. So I actually, I got a scholarship for the first year, but after that, it was hard to keep up with the tuition. So I was planning on dropping out for a year, save up money so I can keep going. But I actually ended up getting married. Longtime boyfriend. We planned on getting married later on, but we got married earlier, and he was able to help me with my legal situation. So I was able to fix my legal status, and then I was eligible for financial aid after that. So I was able to complete my education towards the end of it with financial aid. So it was much easier. It made a big difference. I went to UC Riverside for graduate school. I got my PhD in organic chemistry in 2018. Oh, it felt really, really good because I felt like I sacrificed a lot to get my degree. So it felt like it was all worth it. Then a lot of times, when you're going to school, sometimes you see family members or friends who aren't going to school, and they're going to parties, or they're doing a lot of things that I didn't get to do because I had to study, I had to go to work, so a lot of sacrifice there. And I was like, okay, it was all worth it. And yeah, I'm making my parents proud. It felt like, I came and I completed their American dream. It made everything they went through worth it as well, because they would always tell me, go to school, do this. And it felt like the reason they came to this country was to give us a better life and better opportunities. No way I would have been able to accomplish this in mi pueblo, right? And so them coming here and all the sacrifice they've been through felt really good to to give them that. Yeah. I guess I would want to leave a legacy of hard work. So with hard work, you can accomplish anything. You know, the si se puede. Um, there can be a lot of obstacles in your way, but as long as you keep your eye on that goal, with hard work and with determination, you can accomplish anything. So that's that kind of mentality, or that that's what I would like to leave behind.